Hi, I'm Dr. Diana Hill. Thank you so much for joining me with Your Life in Process. And if you want more, if you're interested in applying these processes to your daily life, join me at my membership, More Life in Process. At More Life in Process, you will get meditations for you to practice at home. You'll get extra bits from the episode that maybe got recorded after the fact. You're going to get PDFs and handouts, things that you can use to apply your daily practice to your life. And I can't wait to see you there. $5 a month, $50 for the year. You can go to yourlifeinprocess.com to sign up. It's good to be back. It's good to see new faces. Welcome. I'm Diana, and I am a clinical psychologist here in Santa Barbara, and I was actually talking to Luca. We were on the bus on the way back from Costa Rica, and I was saying, Luca, I'm not really a meditation teacher. I'm a psychologist. I mean, I bring so much meditation into my, into my work, but you will find that when you come here, I can't help it. You're going to get some psychology. So today is one of those days. I can't contain myself. And I gave everyone a note card. If you don't have one, I have note cards and pens for you all. And if you're at home, hi, it would be good just to grab a piece of paper. I just brought note cards because they're small and they're convenient. But we're going to be using these today because we're exploring and talking about this concept of wise effort. And I was talking with Rick Hansen yesterday. It's a good check-in on my life and what's happening when I talk to him. And the theme that he has brought up multiple times to me and that came up again yesterday is what he says is, you're being nibbled to death by ducks. You're being nibbled to death by ducks. And I think that we can experience that feeling of being nibbled to death by ducks in terms of our tasks of living, the never-ending emails, the never-ending text streams, the never-ending, the dog needs to get fed every day. And then you're out of dog food and the chickens and that, all the ducks that need tending to in our lives. But we can also be nibbled to death by ducks in our minds, right? So when we're driving somewhere or we're in our meditation, our own mind can eat away at us with little things. Little criticisms, little judgments, big things, big worries. And so I like to think of wise effort, and this concept of wise effort is, what do we do about the ducks? And how do you get your ducks in a row? And how do we approach life given that there's going to be a lot of ducks in our mind and ducks in our life? And how do we choose where to put our energy? So this concept of wise effort is one of the steps or components of the Eightfold Path in Buddhism. So in Buddhism, there's lots of numbers, right? It's 6 paramitas and the 4 noble truths. And I actually kind of like it because it keeps me organized in my brain. But you think about the 4 noble truths, that life has dissatisfaction to it. There's a cause to our dissatisfaction. And that freedom is possible. And then the last noble truth, the 4th noble truth, is that there's this path that Buddhism offers. And what I like about the Eightfold Path is that it really has a lot of mirroring and mapping onto psychology and some of the principles that we look at in terms of what is beneficial for us in terms of our psychological wellness and how we act in the world. And so this concept from the Buddhist perspective, wise effort is one of these 8 things, right? And the 8 things, some people separate them into sort of like categories. So one category is the category of wisdom. So things like right view or wise view. Are you seeing clearly what's in front of you? Are you really seeing what is? When you're being nibbled to death by ducks, are you seeing clearly that which ducks are important, which ducks are not so important, and are these really even ducks in the first place, right? And having that ability to see clearly with wise view. Then with wisdom, we also have a wise intention. So another component of this Eightfold Path is, what is your intention here? What is not only the life that you want to build, but what is the world that we want to build? And what is your intention for your practice as you sit down and you come here and you spend this 45 minutes on a Friday morning? Why are you here? What is this about for you? And then you have a category of the Eightfold Path that has to do with our actions. And this is what I really like, that actually I think of Buddhism is very, and especially engaged Buddhism, is a very active approach to living. It's not just sitting on your mat. It's wise speech. How are you using speech and language and what you're saying to another person? It's wise livelihood or right livelihood. What are you doing with your life? And is it contributing to the betterment of your family or the betterment of the world? Or how are you using money, making money, all of that? And then there's also wise action. Right? So I haven't even gotten to right effort yet, or wise effort, but I'll get there. So then we've gotten through, what is that, 5 of them? And so then we move into, actually, wise effort is under the category of meditation, which is kind of interesting. Like you'd think it'd be in the category of action, but it's under the category of meditation. And that category includes things like right mindfulness. Are you aware and conscious of what's happening in the here and now? Are you being mindful? Are you present? Are you enjoying the decks? And then right concentration is your ability. So if mindfulness is being aware, concentration is purposeful dedication of that awareness. So you will be, are you able, and we do practices in our meditation to both be aware and then to have concentration. So we may concentrate on our breath. We may concentrate on a mantra. We may concentrate on lots of different things. Okay, that's 7 of the Eightfold Path. The last one is wise effort. And that's what this note card is for. So in the Buddhist perspective, wise effort has to do with, are you dialing your efforts in a way that's not too loose and not too tight? There's a story of Sonia, the flute player, who was like, his feet were bare because he was practicing so much a lute player, not a flute player, so much meditation and so much trying to become a monk. And he went to the Buddha and said, I'm trying so hard and I can't do it, and I just want to give up. The Buddha said, it's like your lute. If the strings are too tight, it's not going to sound good, and if the strings are too loose, it's not going to sound good. It's just good. So there's an element of wise effort of knowing how to dial your energy. But there's also an element of wise effort of knowing where to put your energy. And so where psychology comes in, or where I view this, is the balance of values and effort. So you have a little note card. And what I'd like for you to do in your note card is draw a line across a horizontal line across the note card with 2 arrows. 2 arrows. I promise we'll meditate at some point. And if you imagine there's a little you, put a little circle in the middle. There's me in the middle. So the arrow going to the right is when you're moving in the direction of your values. When you feel like you are aligned with the type of person you want to be in the world, maybe right speech, right livelihood, right action, right concentration, right mindfulness. This is me aligned with my values. And the arrow to the left is away from your values. Okay, so we have away and towards values. For those that are ACT practitioners, they may think I'm doing something called the matrix, which is I'm not about to do that. I'm doing something different. So then you have another line that goes up and down on the vertical, the y-axis. And that line has to do with the dialing up, the tightening of the string of your effort, or the dialing down. So this line is about effort. High effort at the top, low effort at the bottom. And now we have these 4 quadrants, which this is where it becomes very interesting to start to look at being nibbled to death by decks. because we have in the bottom quadrant low effort and towards values. Low effort and towards values are things that come easily to you. They're your strengths. They're also the things that you enjoy and you find rewarding. This quadrant is what I call the savor quadrant. Enjoy it. So it may be, like for me, low effort and towards my values is sitting down with my son and playing a game, playing chess, or listening to him practice on the piano. It's really low effort for me to listen to him practice on the piano, and it's very much towards my values to give him attention, right? So you can think about that for yourself, and you could even, after this meditation, you could fill in some of the things. What are the things that you want to savor more in your life that are about building the life that you want and the world that you want, that are actually low effort, because we need to have rest. Then the top corner has to do with high effort and towards your values. And I would call that wise effort. This whole right side is wise effort. But if we savor the bottom, wise effort are the things that you do. I was talking with a client this week and who has social anxiety, and their homework for the week was after they drop their kid at preschool to linger. Stay for 10 whole minutes and talk to somebody. And they were like, oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds so hard. That sounds impossible. I'm going to be so uncomfortable. Tell me what questions I should ask, right? That lingering for this person is wise effort, because lingering is connected to this person's values of wanting to build a community around having children, right? Having children and community. So it doesn't always look effortful, always on the outside, these things that are wise effort for us, but we know inside this is something that I want to build and I want to put my energy there. In meditation, high effort towards values is the return. I'm catching myself. My mind is going there. I'm choosing to return back to the present moment. And that actually requires some degree of effort of tightening the strings, tightening your concentration. Okay, so we want to spend some time on this right side of wise effort, of moving in between effort and rest, but being in direction of our values. On the left-hand side is where we often spend a lot of time. The bottom left-hand corner, low effort and away from your values. You can think about what would go in that category. Scrolling, social media. If your social media is not values-based. So I actually participate in social media. I create stuff for social media, and it's values-based stuff. It's intentional, thinking about how is this going to impact or help somebody. What's not helpful to us is when we're just scrolling and comparing ourselves to others, right? Low effort away from our values, maybe we really want to go to sleep and we're watching Netflix and that one more show comes up and we just stay there, right? So much less effort just to stay there. Low effort, I interviewed Katie Bowman this past week in Costa Rica, and she talked a lot about just how we tend to hold our bodies to the least effort possible, right? So we'll jet our hips forward, we'll lean back, and we'll kind of do this kind of like curved thing because it's less effort, right? And actually, a little bit more effort, a little bit more alignment. It requires some intention. And then so I would say the left bottom side is the not worth it quadrant. It's just not worth it to watch one more show. Or it's just not worth it, to stay on this social media a little longer. The top one, top left, high effort and away from our values, is burnout. When you're putting a lot of energy into something that is not aligned with the person that you want to be in the world or the world that you want to grow. And that can change over time. Like all of this is moving. Like something that may be in one category can move to a different category for you. But you can think about that for yourself. Where am I putting a lot of effort that's actually not in line with my values? For some of us, we can put a lot of effort into avoidance behaviors. The parent at preschool who doesn't want to linger actually is putting a lot of effort into getting out of there fast, And so you can think about that for yourself. Where am I placing my energy that's depleting me? And when you get clear, when you fill out this quadrant, I hope you will take some time to fill out this quadrant, it gives you a little bit more of a understanding of if you are being nibbled to death by ducks, which ducks do you want to pay attention to? Which ducks do you want to tend to? Which ducks do you want just to like pass on by? I'm not putting energy there. And what is the life you want to build? So we're going to practice this today with our meditation. And I wanted to keep it really simple because we're talking about wise effort, with beginning with some breath work, because breath work is actually a great example of wise effort, of how we can put some intention into our breathing, and then we can also let go a little bit with our breathing.